Warning at the start of this video, we have radiator heat and it's under 10 degrees here in Chicago, so if you hear any rattling, anything loud clanky, and I can't edit around it, that's the noise. I'm not gonna die. They're just working real hard to keep us warm. Today's video, I wanted to talk about the challenges I'm setting for myself in 2026, specifically for books. I don't think it's a surprise that it's for books, but just in case you're new around here and this is the first video you clicked on, all of this is for books. So here I want to do some reflections on 2025 for my reading. There will be a specific video talking about the books that I did read in 2025, and that will probably be posted in early January. But for now, I'm kind of just reflecting on the year I've had since I've come back to the internet talking about books. Originally this year, I started with a challenge of read 12 books, one for each month. I think we can do that. And I didn't read anything in January. And then I started reading The Grace of Kings by Ken Liu. And this was probably the best book series to start the year off with because I was hooked once again to reading. I will go more in depth with the Dandelion Dynasty when I do a wrap up, but just so y'all know, you should read this series if you haven't already and you love adult fantasy. So with that, I started reading more regularly. I still had a couple of months where I didn't pick up books, but I surpassed 12 books by the time it hit August. And then by the end of October, I think it was the end of October. If not, Storygraph will let me know. But I think by the end of October, I had doubled that. And now I'm sitting at 31 or 32 books read. And the most I've ever read in a year is 36 books. And the fact that if I had read one more month this year of books, I would have beaten my 36 without even trying. I just started to read for the enjoyment of reading and it became regular. And eventually I said to my partner, I need to talk to people about these books. And I miss talking to people about these books. And so that's why I returned to the internet. I miss the community of people I had years ago that I could just like drop in and be like, hey, is anyone reading this book? Or did anyone actually like this book? Because I'm not having a good time. And I missed having friends to talk book stuff with. Though it's not always perfect in the book sphere. No, I think niche place on the internet is. I have really found some great people to talk bookish things with, and I've fully enjoyed my experience coming back into this space. So thanks so much for that. I do appreciate that. So back to the challenges I'm doing for 2026. I set up a few for myself. I didn't want to be overzealous with it because, again, I don't know if I'll ever read over 50 books in a year. So I want to prioritize what I'm most interested in and keep doing that over and over again until I feel like I should challenge myself with more books again. I do have a reading journal that I have made. I didn't make the journal necessarily. This is by Archer and Olive. I'll link them down below. I don't know if this one's in stock anymore because it was part of their, I wouldn't say October, I think it's their fall or autumn launch, but I love Archer and Olive's journals. If you're looking for bullet journals that have thicker paper, I'd highly recommend them, and the product is worth the price, I swear, by these. I have started just documenting what I want to achieve and then setting up a little bit for January how I want to do book reviews. Someone on TikTok that I saw recently did like showing off all of their journals, and one of them was specifically book reports. And I miss doing book reports, and I want my reviews to get better and better as I continue to post. So I am hoping to do my own version of that within this reading journal. This is very basic, but this is what I have so far. And my hope is in the thoughts section to it started to turn on, so if you do hear some whistling, that's gonna be that. So yes, what I was saying. So in the thoughts section, I'm hoping to write like quotes down or anything that stands out to me from books, and having a very specific place to write things before I blurt words out to a camera without thinking through. So I've been doing a lot better with my reviews over the last month over on TikTok and soon to be Instagram. But for now, I know I want to get better at them, so this is my way of doing that. But the challenges are the following. The first challenge for myself is sticking with 12 books for the year. I don't want to deviate from my original challenge because I feel like you can read one book a month. That book can be as small as 10 pages to 1,000 and it will still count. So I want to give myself that leniency because it is encouraging for me, but at the same time, it's a challenge. Instead of it just being one book, I want it to be 12. I want it to be at least a number that makes sense for the full year. My second challenge, which I'm already in the middle of, is 12 horror books before next October. I am going to start my third one very soon, which is going to be Tender is the Flesh. I know a lot of people are excited for me to read that and have thoughts on it, but I'm already fully involved in that challenge, and that's been going swimmingly. I actually read 2 books in November when I was only planning to read one, but I was like, well, I have this other book and I'm interested in reading horror again, so I'll just grab this. So I'm actually ahead in this challenge. I do want to keep this momentum of every month, making sure I don't stick to one genre the entire month, but do different little pieces of genres throughout. Which, speaking of, the third challenge is 12 sci-fi books. I have been interested in reading sci-fi for a while. I didn't realize when I was selecting the 12 books for my sci-fi list that I'd already been reading sci-fi without really pinning it as sci-fi. It's weird. I don't know why in my head I just disregarded some of these books' genres, but I did. So because of that, I realized I had read more than I anticipated, and I also realized that I wanted more epics, space opera type of sci-fi, because that's what I love in fantasy. I don't like low fantasy. I don't like comfy, cozy fantasy. I want the epicness. I want your book to give me an entirely new world perspective that I've never seen. And even if it's similar to another one, I'll still probably like it if it's epic in some capacity. And so I was struggling to find some of these books because I also wanted to diversify the authors. I didn't want to read a bunch of white guys stuff. That was a little bit difficult. However, I did accomplish it. And in next week's video, you guys will see what those books are and any series that I'm going to be continuing into 2026. Okay, last and certainly not least, this is the challenge I'm probably going to be speaking the most about because it means the most to me, and that is the Malazan reread of 2026. This is big, huge even. Let me tell you a little story. Let me give you some lore on myself. When I was back in college, my first adult fantasy that I read, after sticking with young adult for so long, was A Song of Ice and Fire. From then on, I was like, I am hooked to adult fantasy. But I struggled after that book series because, as we all know, it's not complete even now. And I wanted to find an epic fantasy series that was finished. So I was going through all of these blog posts, and I see that the number one on a certain fantasy blog, and I wish I still had the link to this place because it was full of recommendations. I think it was over 100 books. But in first place for epicness and scope was the Malazan Book of the Fallen. I recognized the Gardens of the Moon cover because I had purchased that book way back at home, I think before I left for college. And so I knew I had it. And so I grabbed it the next time I was home and I started reading it. Now this was back in 2015. Yeah, I'm now dating myself, but it's fine. I started reading the Malazan Book of the Fallen for the first time in 2015 and I completed it in July of 2016. So for the 10th anniversary of reading the series, I'm going to be doing the reread. It is such an impactful series that kind of changed my life forever in a way where I got so much emotional stability from it, which is weird. I know, but I was struggling at the time. A lot of stuff happened that summer that emotionally I didn't realize how much I needed to escape. And that series held me down. Also honorable mention, The Witcher 3 as well. And Dragon Age Inquisition. I think I finished those 2 games and the Malazan Book of the Fallen within the same summer. Wild. Anyways, the last time I was on BookTube, I also tried to do a reread of this and I got to book 3. There was a scene. I cried so hard that I couldn't pick the book back up again. That reread didn't have a challenge attached to it. It was just me trying to enjoy the series. But this time, it's a challenge. I so want to do this. There's just a different desire. I've been so excited to do this challenge that the stalling of December and it not being January and I can't start doing it now has been bugging the crap out of me. But we're so close. We're just a few weeks away. So the plan is for this reread challenge is to read 1 book per month. And during that month is giving small updates, maybe 4 to 5 about how I'm doing, where I'm at in the book, any things I want to quote, any things to point out. And at the end of the month or the beginning of the next month, I will be doing an overall video on YouTube talking about my experience of rereading the book and favorite characters, favorite scenes, all of that. It's kind of going to be spoiler heavy, but hopefully at the beginning of each of those videos, I will be doing a spoiler-free version so that if someone doesn't know if they want to jump into the series or not, they can have that. I think a lot of those in-between postings will probably be put on my TikTok/Instagram, and maybe I'll start doing YouTube shorts so that if you only watch YouTube, you'll also be seeing those updates. But for now, it's going to be like maybe TikTok and Instagram only. We'll see how much I can do. So those small updates will be going on over on that side of things. So by October, I will have reread the entire series again. And probably I will do a series and video recap, my thoughts. I think that'll be really, really fun. So in my journal, I have also made a huge section dedicated to me jotting down notes and things that I want to keep track of. The series is also going to be annotated pretty heavily by me because I have multiple versions now of every single book in the 10 books, because originally I was going to be doing it in this sides, which is is this a trade paperback? No, this is the mass market paperback. And I was like, oh, I have 8 out of 10 of those. This should be easy then to like collect. I don't know if you guys read mass paperbacks a lot. Do you see how small it is? Like, I looked at this and then thought, I don't think I can annotate that book very well if I don't have more space. So I decided that I'm going to be annotating the trade paperback versions. This is just going to be easier. These are much larger books and the print's still technically small, but there's much more room to like write, annotate, and just have a better time. So I hope I didn't spoil anything with whatever pages I just landed on for Gardens of the Moon. But to be honest, I feel like even just showcasing Gardens of the Moon, you're not going to get the whole story at all. So we'll be okay. Anyways, so that is where and how I'm going to be annotating. I'll go more in depth probably in the first video, how I'm going to be specifically annotating things and what notes I'm taking down and how, because this first book is going to be really the guinea pig of what do all these colors mean? I don't know. We'll figure it out. The last thing I want to do for the Malazan reread section is give my current top 10 favorite characters with some honorable mentions and my current ratings for all 10 books to see if anything changes as the reread goes on during the year. I thought this would be really fun to then reflect on in the final video. So here it goes. Also, if I don't mention your favorite character, it does not mean I hate that character. This is just my opinion, okay? And with this reread, this list is going to look way longer and way different. Maybe not the first 5 characters though, because those were pretty dead on. So I'm going to start with the honorable mentions. And if I'm really good, I'll put the portraits up so you guys can see them. Oh, and also I tried to make sure all of the character names are from when they're first introduced, but there is a specific character that I could not remember what her original name was. So I put a nickname that is hers, and hopefully that's not a spoiler. I don't think it is. It won't make any sense to anybody who's not read the series. So, reading from the honorable mentions list. This one I know I'm gonna get some people after me for. Tehol, Not Apsalar, Anrak, Quickben, Kalamakar, Traveler, Tool, Fisher, Tattersail, Gessler, Stormy, Ublala Punk, Lady Envy. People are going to be upset that those are just honorable mentions, but I only did top 10, you guys, okay? I remember when I first finished this series, I had like a top 25. By the end of the series, I'm going to have a top 25 again, more than likely. Okay, so starting from number 10, Silkus Ruin. Number 9, Mappo. Number 8, The Rope. Number 7, Itkovian. Number 6, Trevori Paran. Number 5, Fiddler. Number 4, Whiskey Jack. Number 3, Animander Rake. Number 2, Troll Sungar. And at number 1, Bug. Okay, these are my current ratings as listed on my story graph from the time that I first read these books. Gardens of the Moon, 5. Dead House Gates, 4. Memories of Ice, 4. House of Chains, 4. Midnight Tides, 5. The Bone Hunters, 5. Reaper's Gale, 4. Toll the Hounds, 3. Dust of Dreams, 4. The Crippled God, 5. And that would be 5 stars, 4 stars, and so on. At the time when I was reading this, I did not do half stars or 0.25 or 0.75. So during this reread, I'm definitely going to be implementing that. So that is it for all my challenges, what I'm going to be doing, and the heavy detailed version of the Malazan reread. Let me know what your challenges are, if you're expecting to do anything yourself or if you're just going to be reading just to read, whatever floats your boat. I am very excited to start doing all of this. There's still some more setup I need to do for a couple of the challenges just in my reading journal, but I am very excited. So with that being said, thank you so much for hanging out with me today, and I'll see you in the next video. Bye!